I'm excited to talk with you. It's been fun kind of researching after being a fan for a long time and then kind of discovering
Oh,
some of
uh-huh.
the music that I didn't know as well. And so it must be exciting for you with this coming out, especially because some of these albums included are ones that not as many people were familiar with initially.
That's right.
So um, I guess let's start with your musical beginnings. I've read different things, but I figured go straight to the source.
Uh-huh,
um,
okay.
so you were born in Birmingham, correct?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And
Um, went to school in Handsworth and Ladywood. Oh, Ladywood. Well, went to it was a girls' school originally, but three schools became one school. So it was a boys' school, a girls' school, and the mixed school became Ladywood Comprehensive. And I think it was that sort of point in time when I started to do a little bit more singing, or music teacher, and little theatre things going on, at school and everything, and little concerts going on at school, and I would enter into it, and at the time of the Jackson Five and the Osmonds, and it was that sort of era. And teachers used to say, "Oh, you got an all right voice, Jack," and everything else, and used to win the competitions and things like that. But it wasn't until that then I started probably taking it seriously. I never took it too seriously. It's everybody around me that thought, you could have done it. It was usually at school more than anything else.
now, were either of your parents musically inclined?
No, so, I was brought up by my grandmother, and we
Okay.
had two uncles that were sort of very close. One lived at home. One uncle was very into jazz,
Uh huh.
and my other uncle was very into R&B and soul and that kind of thing. So, and at the time when I was growing up, I know my granny reggae because we're families from Jamaica.
Yeah.
So we had all that sort of kind of music, plus chart stuff was going on. But listening at home with my uncles and stuff like that, and my younger uncle who was the soul fan. So I would be listening to, Aretha Franklin and Carla Thomas and,
Uh,
and all those kind of people. And as I said, Motown was going on at the time as well. So, my influences were very sort of Motown based as well.
hmm Now I
Gladys Knight. Yeah.
I understand that you sang Michael Jackson's "Ben" in a Christmas talent contest of some sort.
I did, yeah. That was at school. That's even now. That's what God bless them. That they still remember me for that. Yes,
So
yeah.
was that like a favorite song of yours?
Yes, I think at the time, and when you're singing things and it's a cappella, because
Uh huh.
I wasn't in a band or anything like that, and something that would and the kids liked it, and so it was like also requested as well.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I did do that for the competition, and like I said, everybody sort of knows me for that. But I never took it seriously. I've got a younger brother that lived at home and a cousin, and we were always trying to emulate the Jackson Five or the Osmonds and that kind of thing. So I did sing Ben at the school concert, and also Crazy Horses by the Osmonds.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So so it just they were the teens and the youngsters, the young bands that were out at that time, and us kids were they followed one or the other.
Yeah. And was there something called the SRO Band that you did
Oh, you know
somewhere?
about that one as well. Oh, let me tell you, Justin. Okay, but from there, right? I think yes, it would have been the SRO band. There was some friends of ours. Being local in Birmingham, and one night affair, and I also was in a band called Ferrari
Uh
by
huh.
that time, because the drummer from that band ended up joining another band, and sort of I ended up getting the gig with that band, so it's Ferrari. But then we
Okay.
did do the SRO band, which was another sort of covers band that sort of did pubs, clubs, university colleges. We did the Robin Cousins Ice Show, which was a famous ice skater back in the 70s. And
Okay.
they were doing a show in the National Arena.
What was his name again?
Robin Cousins.
Okay. Okay.
He's Olympic ice skater, and they had a show that was going on there with his.
So you were like opening for him?
Yeah,
Okay.
So we would play in the interval, and we would, open, and we play in the interval, and at the end, sort of thing.
But you weren't ice skating when you were singing, right?
Oh my gosh, no, darling.
Okay.
Actually, by that point, we're going into what? Late 70s now. Which was late 70s, going into the 80s by this point, darling.
Okay. How did your collaboration with Derek Bramble come about? Because you worked with him from the beginning at EMI.
That's right.
So do you remember how did someone suggest him to you, or did you know him?
Yes, my darling.
Okay.
Well, let me just go back just a little bit. You know where I mentioned Brian Freshwater?
Right.
Right. Well, Derek Bramble was a part of Freshwater's production company thing going on. Okay. As an artist, and Brian Freshwater also managed David Grant.
Okay.
All right. So at the time when he was looking at the Medium Wave Band, the showcase kids, when I was performing with them, he and because he was interested, I did obviously another gig after you. I did it at Ronnie Scott's or something, and he then invited Derek and David, but David was in a band called Lynx at that point.
Oh, right.
Okay, and he, because he manages David, obviously he's considering like doing something with me. He's obviously wanting David's permission that he can. You understand what I'm trying to say? So they all of them saw me and said, we like her. We should have her on board within their unit, and that's how that came about. So Derek Bramble then sort of wrote a lot of songs because he was a member of Heatwave at one point, and he wrote a lot of songs, and we were demoing the songs and just finding out which one. And I was getting a lot of other writers coming, but Derek was the main bulk of it, and it was his songs that sort of got me recognized with the record label and that, or with Clive Black and that.
So he kind of wrote songs tailored to you.
Yeah, he was the one who wrote Round and Around and actually most of the Breaking Away album and that kind of thing.
Right. And I mean, were they songs that he wrote specifically with you in mind?
Like we sat and we worked together and stuff like that. And as we got to know each other more and more, he would everything was sort of tailored, I suppose, for me.
Now, you mentioned David Grant, and of course that's an important part of your beginnings because you guys did several duets very well received. So how did that concept come about for you guys doing the remake of Could It Be I'm Falling in Love?
Oh, that was another Brian and David sort of collaboration. We should do something. At that time, David had already now left Lynx and was doing his own solo project. So he was doing things that year. But I think, because I was doing well as a solo artist and being in the same stable as them, they were thinking, well, we should do something together. And it would obviously help to elevate David as well. Because I was still thinking I was the little, the little girl on the bottom of the run of the ladder holding onto David's, shirt tail.
Right.
But as it turned out, table turning a little bit, we were doing something, and he said, Jack, I had this dream. He said, this is how he tells it. He had a dream that we were doing a show, and we were doing a song called Could It Be I'm Falling in Love?
Oh, okay.
Which I have got the album at home, which is a Detroit Spinners track. But for some reason, that song, as he tells it, was the one that he was thinking of. Well, put it to Brian and them, and they all said, yeah, that's a good idea. Now, being a newcomer into the recording scene and that kind of thing, I'm getting really nervous now about doing covers.
Right.
All right. I'm thinking, because I remember the original, and that's the one I've got in my collection, and that's the one I really love. And I know you shouldn't. And I've got this thing about you shouldn't touch this, and you shouldn't touch. But Derek gave us such a great version of it.
Yeah.
That it stood the test of time, darling, as well as the Detroit Spinners one. But our version has really stood the test of time, and it's a backdrop to a lot of people's, growing up and stuff. Because when I do shows now, and I obviously still do it, and it just didn't date that song, and the way it was recorded, it just didn't date. To me, it didn't date, and the youngsters were, taking it on board as well. And I'm thinking, wow.
So I'm curious though, in spite of all the obstacles you had, obviously you did really well, especially the round and
Uh,
round and Could It Be I'm
I
Falling in
did.
Love.
That's
So when
right.
you went in and recorded, started recording Breaking Away, the second album,
Yeah.
did it, do you remember, was it a process like where you kind of guys could do whatever you wanted, or was there pressure to like create the same kind of sound and keep it going, or do you
Well,
remember anything?
something that would be Brian and Derek's domain.
Okay,
I just
gotcha.
turn up with,
Okay,
what I mean.
yeah.
But when you think about some of the discussions that they were having and stuff, all I know is that they had a hard time with EMI because EMI, like I said, they would like things like Round and Around or breaking away and everything else. They would submit the songs to them,
Uh-huh.
and it would be no, and all right, and then they'd be saying, oh, it probably needed another remix, or we need to
Uh-huh.
get so and so to mix it, or they didn't really know what they were doing, but and
Mm.
then that's a budget thing as well because all of that, because at the end of the day, I still owe the record company money.
Oh, yeah.
So I never made any money from that,
Oh, gosh.
So at every hurdle, and then radio would play it, and radio would love it, and then public would love it, and then the next thing you know, everybody's running around like a headless chicken. I'm talking about the record company
So,
because oh really
yeah.
oh
Well, because I was wondering, because I think if I'm correct, the introductory single for the Breaking Away was the Step Right Up.
yes
So, and that was definitely kind of a little more in the pop vein. So
yes
I
yeah.
wondered, was that like, was that kind of they were thinking this is a commercially good way to go, or
That's
yeah,
probably how they would, Derek and Brian would probably think,
okay,
give them something that, is danceable, poppy, and that kind of thing.
uh huh,
With the undertone of the soul vibe, but give them something, which worked.
oh yeah, definitely,
It
yeah,
worked, but like I said, they didn't like it. They
yeah,
never liked any of the stuff I released.
wow,
As far as they didn't like it,
that's
and it was like I said, God bless Clive Black because he was the one that was trying to but he was banging his head against a brick wall really.
wow. Now you co-wrote a song on Breaking Away called "Stop the World,"
Oh
and
yeah.
was that your first time as a songwriter, or had you been doing songwriting before?
Well, I never consciously did anything. I mean, when you're doing something and you're recording or you're singing or whatever it is, you interject your own bits of it. Can I say this word or can I if I said this or this?
Uh huh.
But I didn't realize I was writing. In my own little way.
Uh huh.
I didn't. But when it was time I had to sit down and really sit and process the writing process. This was another world again because I had been doing it sort of unconsciously.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'd say something or I'd sing something a certain way or I'd word it differently or whatever it is, and Derek would say yes or no or maybe so. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of it would be kept. But then when it came to the Stop the World, the thing was, I suppose because we had Natalie at the time, and this isn't going to last forever and everything else. But you're trying to see it through a child's eyes, and what you do for the children, because it's all about the youngsters, and that I think that's really what we sat down and discussed, and how we were going to say it, and that's what came out of it, Stop the World.
So it was, in your case, you got to contribute both lyrics
Yeah,
and
yeah,
melody to it.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
was wondering with the theme of that song, because, for instance, one of the lines from there that I liked, you say, I know she dreams of oh so simple things, her magic shines so bright.
Yeah, yeah,
For you, as a
yeah.
mom, being a
That's right.
successful pop and R&B artist, was it, because that's not the typical scenario, was that difficult to kind of balance the two when you were having all that success?
Yeah,
Just,
I know, darling. I look back now, I look back at the kids, and they're very, I'd like to think, well balanced, sensible, grounded kids, but I needed. For my own self, I needed to have them with me. They were our responsibility. Okay, the children, and everybody expects you to have a nanny and a housekeeper and all the rest of it.
right.
Forget that, man. I'm thinking, she's our responsibility, and that, you know, 'cause it was only her at that point in time.
Right.
And I needed to keep control of that. But I also wanted her to see, to learn, to grow from what we were going through and doing, and hopefully make her a better person as well, because we were traveling as well, and that was also an education.
Yes, yes.
You know what I mean?